Call the meeting to order, please. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a roll call, please. Thank you. Have a roll call, please.
Oh, sorry.
No problem.
Sleeping. Wondergem.
Here.
Hybor.
Here.
Steffes.
Here.
Gardine. Here. Palmer. Here. Dahan.
Here.
And Klein.
Here. Thank you. Please note as a courtesy to members of the audience and to the Board of Education to silence your cell phones. Public will only be able to speak during public comment is signed up. I have, I think, about 9 forms up here. Are there any others coming in? All right, moving on. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Next item is the reports agenda. We will start with Joe.
Thank you. My wife and I were invited to chaperone DECA, the state championship in Detroit for our students. We had 43 of them, I believe. Ms. Stewart and Mrs. Burrell coordinate the whole DECA program. For those of you that don't know what DECA is, I wrote this out because I wasn't familiar with it until this year. So, I mean, I've heard of it, but I wasn't familiar with what they did. So DECA is a student-led organization that gives high schoolers opportunity to explore many different fields of business, like marketing, finance, hospitality, entrepreneurship, and management skills. They conduct projects, they write out business plans, they create solutions to those plans, and they do some role playing, and then are judged by business professionals of all different areas on their role playing and their effort to solve problems and gain some hand-on experience with it. They do such a great job. Our kids, I was blown away with, first of all, our kids and how professional they are. They dress professional, they look good during this competition. And then I was asked to judge one of the competitions, so I did. I sat in, I judged 10, none of our own students, but the students that I did judge were fantastic. They really did a nice job. Their eye contact, they're just so professional and grown up, I guess. They looked like I would hire them if they came in to ask for a job. They did such a great job. We currently have 117 students enrolled in this program. There was 43 that attended the state, and we have 5 students that succeeded at state and are going on to nationals, which is in Orlando. So Lisa and Ms. Stewart, could you stand up so everyone can see who you are? Those of you that don't know who runs DECA. So they also are part of the Dog Den, which is the store where everyone gets all their Grandville gear. So they do a great job with all that. Yes, thanks for modeling. Anyway, it was fantastic. I really appreciate being asked to chaperone that. The kids were great. The competition was great. 5,000 plus students there from around the state. Really cool experience.
Fantastic program.
Yeah,
Thanks for being there.
it'd be great if that could be expanded. Maybe I don't know. I was just thinking over the weekend, maybe a school store in the new middle school where they sell apparel, that type of thing, would be really cool. So,
Awesome.
and
Great idea.
I don't know what other type of funding's available, but it's definitely a worthwhile program. So,
That's really cool.
thank you.
Thank you. All right, Brent.
Well, for me, the snow's kind of messed up things lately. I was supposed to go to East to read for one of the elementary students, our classrooms, but I was really looking forward to going back to that because I went to East and I haven't been back in the building, I don't think, that I can remember since I left there. So I don't know, maybe we'll make up a day for that. And then there was supposed to be lacrosse this past Saturday, but there was a blizzard. So that's right after here. We moved the lacrosse scrimmage to tonight. So as soon as I leave here, we're going to go to the lacrosse scrimmage with John. Yeah. And then last night we had the powerlifting end of season banquet, and congratulations to both those teams. The boys finished first in the state, and the girls finished second. And last year the girls won the state. So the coaches do a great job with that. And my son really, this is the first year he did it, and he really enjoyed it. All of them get to participate, and they do a good job. So that's what I had going on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Amy.
Well, I was lucky enough to get to go chaperone for the Jazz Band Festival one Thursday, and the concert band festival the next Thursday, and actually that's vice versa, but they got ratings of 1 for all of the middle school, which is fantastic. They sounded amazing. The parent-teacher conferences happened and really well attended for the high school, and it seemed like everything was going pretty smoothly. One of the other things that I personally, Jason actually just asked me how I'm handling having a senior, and they are having their senior all-night party, and there are lots of opportunities to help fund that if anyone is interested in helping. They have a euchre night coming up, they have flower sales, they have different restaurant nights, they're having a seniors dance so that they can raise some funds. So that's something that we do for every single senior class when they leave, and so that's pretty cool. Parks and Recreation, there is actually the walk and deck project at Heritage is moving forward. So they're going to rip out that old deck and make it safe because it's super unsafe right now. The South Buck Creek project also they have a lot of trails that are going to go in. I think that's behind the cemetery. And so there are going to be some really cool walking paths out there, and that's going to be going on. And the Little League bathrooms, a lot of people here, especially with our young ones, are participating in Little League, and they are planning for an ADA upgrade to make everything accessible. So lots of cool stuff going on.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Hi.
I relinquish my time for both Grandview and South's presentation.
Thank
Go
you.
for it.
Thank you. Jason?
Yeah, so a bunch of stuff. I haven't been here for a meeting, so but a lot of things going on. Congrats to the bands for all their events and their ratings that they got, which was really great to see. So strong performances there this weekend. It was canceled on Saturday, but that gave me the opportunity to drive to Whitehall for a band state solo ensemble and all the performances up there, which they did fantastic. The last time I talked to the teachers there, gosh, I want to say just about everyone had a 1 rating, which was fantastic to see. So that was really cool. The Hall of Fame dinner went off well. Unfortunately, I didn't actually get to make it because I was at an event with my youngest. No one cares about this, but he's a competitive fencer. And he actually ended up doing very well that weekend, and now he's going to be in the top 30 in the country for his age group. So we were tied up a little bit, so I didn't get to the Hall of Fame dinner, even though I've been plugging it for the last month and a half. So thank you to all those that did actually attend that and made that a success. And then things coming up. Shrek the Musical, that's been the other thing that's now all over the place right now. So if anyone is interested in Shrek the Musical, I would suggest you get tickets because I guess they're going fast. There's been a lot of interest in that in the community, so much so that they're even talking about adding shows maybe. So we'll see what we have to do there. But the kids are all excited about it, and it should be a good time. So that's coming up here after spring break, in a couple weeks after spring break. So that's all I got.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I attended the Health Ed Advisory Committee meeting on March 7th. There were parents there and staff representing. Our nursing staff was there. And since they haven't met in over 2 years, there was a lot of remembering what our purpose is, what our requirements are, some of the things that still need to be done in order to catch up. But in spring is when all of our reproductive health is delivered. And so they're talking about using those materials now, but in this next year, update videos and make sure that it's accurate and current, and you're not looking at 1970s clothes. I'm exaggerating. I don't believe that's what it is. But we did laugh, like sometimes it takes that long. So we're looking for there was a suggestion that one of the girls' video be a little bit more on physical development. So again, there's some things we're looking for in those new videos. And with the nursing staff that we have, there's the ability for them to also be a part of the reproductive health education that's being done, maybe to be part of the question and answer session. But all of the instructors have to be trained through the ISD if they're to deliver the reproductive health curriculum. So we're thinking potentially they could get trained as well, and then be that kind of other person besides the teacher is the nursing staff, which I think is a good idea. Just in case there's some follow-up that needs to be made, they could help assist that. So it was a good meeting. Thank you, Scott, for facilitating. A great group of people. A father there who's got 4 boys. So I thought, that's great. You know, a father, and his perspective was very well delivered, and I thought really helped us understand things. So that's it.
Thank you, Bear. On my front, first I would like to offer our condolences to Mike Simonson's family. Mike was a principal at South Elementary and a dedicated educator in our community, and our thoughts and prayers go to his family at this time of loss. This week, so much was going on. First, congratulations to our state swim team, and in particular, because Proud Papa's in here, Dr. Merkel's son Jack just blew things, I mean, literally out of the water. As a sophomore, they are taking several places, 2nd and 5th? 5th, yeah, and my family, who's a bunch of swimmers, saw those numbers. They were following them all day, and the phone was lighting up like, holy cow, and he's a sophomore. So congratulations to him and his teammates. It's a great group effort, and it's a wonderful program. Proud to have aquatics here at Grandville. Also, twice in the last couple weeks, I've had the opportunity to go see the Winter Drumline and the Winter Winds. That was a program that we approved as a board about a year ago, and this is their first full joint season. They're working with the Jennison drumline as well, so it's combined, which is kind of fun because as far as percussion goes, in the Division II at states during regular marching season, they were competitive against each other, just missing each other. Jennison upped the Grandville team by about 0.1 on the scores, and so now they're working together, which is really fun to do their shows, and it was really a pleasure to go there and see them again this weekend. They were in Kent City this week during the middle of the blizzard, so I feel you. It was white knuckles all the way home from that event. Spent some time out with the Century Park staff on Friday, and then ran over to the middle school for the B&11 assembly, which is always just such a pleasure to be at. And I forget every single time to bring tissues and not wear mascara because it just cry and cry and cry. Joy and also sorrow. We had a couple of parents there, of course, who've lost children, who were there to honor their children through giving to others. And so that was really special to share in that moment with them, but also to see their joy of their child passed along to others. And giving and in honoring other students. It was just so great to see those 6 students get honored and have their family there and see them light up the room and have their peers be so excited for them. It's just a great experience. If you get a chance to do the final trimester event, please join in. I'll see if we can get that on the calendar a little earlier so we can make room in our work schedules for it. I too lost the opportunity to talk to East on Friday because of the snow, but I'm sure that they were fine sleeping in and reading at home that day. But I'm looking forward to going to Central later this week, 2 days from now, and reading again. And also big congrats to our robotics team who have had 2 really great events in Canada, in fact, and came out on top in one and really close in the other, and just have a lot to share in that program. Check out their Facebook pages if you want to see them. And of course, our cheer team who went to states recently and did really well, so really proud of everything that's going on here. That all being said, I'm going to pass it on to Roger because we have a lot of wonderful guests here tonight.
Yes. So very excited. First of all, Grandview Elementary is here with us, and just really looking forward to what they have to tell us about. So take her away.
I'm going to actually turn it over to our 2nd grade teacher, Amanda Gall, who kind of led her team in this ensemble.
Okay, well, good evening, everybody. My name is Amanda Gall, and I'm here with our 2 principals, Emily McAlpine and Ellen Ackhurst, and my colleagues, Elizabeth Kuiper and Kenna Battle, and some great 2nd graders who are also doubling as famous people this evening. So we have been working hard in 2nd grade at Grandview for about the past month. This has been meeting our informational reading and writing standards. Each of the 2nd graders chose a famous person in history, some of them alive still, some of them no longer living, but they researched, they took notes, they formed their notes into speeches, and basically learned a ton about their famous person, really focusing on what their famous people did to overcome obstacles and show perseverance. And they would like to share some of that information with you this evening. So if our famous people could go take their places, And keep in mind that they are made of wax. This is our wax museum. So you will have to get up as they are not able to move. So if you will give them just a moment to take their places, and they're out in the hallway, there are some in this room. If you just walk up to them, that is their signal to share their information with you. So yeah, we are excited to share our second grade wax museum.
All right, let's go see these wax statues.
Great job, Will.
Thank you for sharing this. I like seeing it.
Everybody, okay? You have an audience here and here. Can you do it into the microphone though? Yes. Do you mind? It won't be loud, but it'll be loud for the people watching. Okay?
Hi, my name is Walt Disney. I am most famous for Disney animation and Disney theme parks. I was born December 5th, 1901 in Chicago, Illinois. I love drawing and art. I would even draw pictures of the animals on my farm when they lived in Missouri. I spent time as an ambulance driver in France during World War I. When I returned, I took art classes at the Chicago Art Institute. I was influenced by an artist named Ub Iwerks. I learned about cartoons. I wanted to make my own cartoons and be an animator. I started a company called Laugh-O-Gram, but it failed. My brother and I started Disney Studios. Then I created a famous cartoon character named Mickey Mouse, my first animated film, Steamboat Willie, and many more like Goofy and Donald Duck. I made the first cartoon with sound. Later, I was even Mickey's voice. I made a full-length animated movie called Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It took 5 years to complete. Over my time, my company won 32 Academy Awards and 7 Emmy Awards. In 1955, I created a theme park with rides and fun based on movies. It was called Disneyland. It was in California. It cost $17 million. I started to build another theme park, Disney World in Florida. Sadly, I died of lung cancer in 1966 before it finished. I made the world a more fun place to be with my cartoons, great characters, and by creating places for families to have fun. Thank you for continuing watching the stories brought to life.
Awesome, nice job. Awesome.
Nice job, buddy.
So have you been to Disney then, Dad?
Hey, Harry, can you speak? Can you do your speech into the microphone?
Dad is down there on Facebook.
Yeah, it won't be loud, but other people at home will be able to hear it. Go for it.
Hi, my name is Harry Houdini, and I was born on March 24, 1874, in Budapest, Hungary. I moved a lot when I was young. I did not go to school. Instead, I had to walk to help my family. My brother Theo showed me a trick that he had learned from his boss, and I was fascinated. So anytime I had off from work, I would make up my own magic tricks. I was known as Harry Houdini because I added an R to my favorite celebrity whose last name was Houdin. My nickname was Abby, which sounded like Harry, so I decided to change it. My brother and I had a lot of tricks together, so we became known as the Brothers Houdini. In overall acts, I met a dancer named Bess. We fell in love and got married. She then became a lifelong assistant on stage. I am most famous for my amazing stunts. One of my tricks involved being locked in a crate that was loaded with 200 pounds of lead. I was then locked into handcuffs and leg irons because the crate was nailed shut and put underwater. I had to hold my breath for over an hour before I was miraculously able to escape. I also made a 10,000-pound elephant disappear. I died on October 41, 1926, in Detroit, Michigan. A boy punched me in the stomach, but something went wrong and I did not survive. I will always be remembered as one of the world's greatest magicians and entertainers.
You are fabulous. Can you get out of this? Nope. Good job, Emmett.
Probably should be, let's say, give it a couple more minutes. I went to 3. That was
Let's give everybody a couple more seconds to get in and get settled. All right, where's Miss? welcome Ms. McAlpine back up to the front, or Ms. Gall.
They're good, so we need
Okay.
to just thank them.
All right. Thank you. We would like to say thank you to our Grandview guests today, our staff, administration, and of course, all these wonderful, famous historical features. I got to meet a lot of great people tonight, so thank you so much for everything that you do and for coming here to present. Families of Grandview students, you're welcome to stay for the board meeting if you wish. If you wish to exit, you're welcome to do that too, no pressure. Next up, we have another presentation.
Yes, very excited to have South Elementary with us. Dr. England, take her away.
Okay, well, most of you probably know that March is green. And at South, we kind of like to say that every month is green. But this past month, our kiddos got to participate in some really unique, original things to not only expand, hopefully, their love of reading, but also the genres that they got to read, the levels that they got to read, and then also learning about what you can do not only after you're done reading the book, but while you're reading the book, and even before you're reading the book. So our amazing librarian, Sam Seeger, headed up most of the events for March's Reading Month at 7. And she's going to tell you a little bit about our book clubs and our book cafe, and even a special event that many of our parents were at, where we invited the community in as VIPs and encouraged them to snuggle up and read a good book. So hopefully our kiddos will not only love the joy of reading, but want to do it every minute that they can.
All right. Can we hear me well? All right. Well, thank you very much for having us here. We are very excited to share all the exciting ways we are celebrating March's Reading Month at South. At South, we are creating and maintaining a culture of reading. We are welcoming our community to join us for unified celebrations of literacy. We are empowering and encouraging our older students to inspire our youngest, and we are having fun. We kicked off March's Reading Month by acknowledging Read Across America Week. Every day that first week of March, we dropped everything, the whole building, everybody dropped everything at 3 o'clock, and we read. We assigned kind of a fun theme or twist to each day of the week. So Monday, we all put our feet up on the desk like we're CEO, like we're the boss. On Tuesday, we read like cowboys and turned our chairs backwards, saddled our seats. Wednesday was probably the most adorable. We read like we were on vacation, so we had our sunglasses and sun hats and rolled out our beach towels. On Thursday, probably their favorite, read like you were a veterinarian, bring your stuffed animal with you. And on Friday was our PTC Popcorn Friday, so it was a good day to make it pajama day and bring your flashlights and turn off the lights and cuddle up and read. So I'll share some pictures. Here's our adorable veterinarians reading with their pets. This was so much fun, and the participation was so top-notch across all grades, and even with staff. It was really important to us that everybody in the building stop at 3 o'clock, that students can see the adults in their lives practicing their love of reading, and that the whole school community practiced it together. So much fun. How cute are they? No presentation about South would be complete without mentioning Cece, our comfort dog, who can be found reading with students every single day. She'll wander into classrooms and sit with them while they're doing independent silent reading. She can be used as a PBIS reward for a student who has earned a special reward. She can be used for a kid who might need some quiet time in the hall with just Cece and a book. So we love Cece.
Beautiful.
I have to say it's always a victory. Anyone who's ever been tasked with planning an event for K through 6th grade, when you have your 5th and 6th graders participating with their feet up, that's a victory. So we had such good participation. Kids asked me the following Monday, what the theme was. I swear they could do it every single day for the rest of the year. All right, so our book cafe, I have a couple of our servers from our book cafe who served our student body here to serve our board members. You could probably start with course 1. So 1 week a year, our school library is transformed into the book cafe. Students are greeted at the door by a hostess, and they are seated and they are given a book cafe menu, which my friends Jacob and Xander from 5th grade are kind enough to supply you with a sample of what students were greeted with when they came into the book cafe. Now, this is so much fun. Our servers rotate through with a multi-course menu of alternating genres. And when the kids come in and the library is transformed into the book cafe and we have the Ratatouille music playing like we're in a cafe in Paris, you know, they gasp and they're so excited, and that alone is probably enough reason to do it. But of course, the real value of this is that they are very quickly getting some different books and different types of genre in front of them that they might not have otherwise gravitated to. Kids, just like us, go towards what they know, and it's not uncommon to have kids come into the Diary of a Wimpy Kid shelf every single library. So the value of this was that they moved very quickly, so our library is set up in 30-minute times. We still did book checkouts, so they just had 1 to 2 minutes really with each of these different trays to open them up and decide if it looked like something they'd be interested in, if it was a good fit difficulty-wise.
Thanks for the candy.
Yeah, keep reading. One fun change we implemented this year was we used our 5th and 6th grade 5th graders as servers. We took members of our 5th grade book club and our 6th grade reader advisory committee, and we served our younger classmates. Do you want to start with course 2? So it would look like this. So of course, this allows our older students to develop confidence and work on their speaking skills and develop positive reading identity and reader agency. It's just a whole lot of fun. So our 5th grade book club, to kind of back it up, these are kids who voluntarily are meeting at least once a month during their lunch or recess time. Recess during the colder months, because they always want to come inside during the colder months. And we talk about their book of the month. In their class, they were assigned a genre of the month. So we meet as a book club, and we discuss that genre, the book they read, how well the particular book they read met the tenets and characteristics of that genre, if they would recommend it to somebody else. And it's just so much fun to sit back and listen to them talk about their reading. And another neat thing we did as a 5th grade book club, the week before a book cafe, we sat down and we planned the menu. And we talked about what books would best represent the genres and how that would look different if we were serving a 1st grade or a 4th grade class. And they did a great job. They did a great job. It's a lot of fun. And then our clients or our diners will then rate the books they're served on their book cafe menus. And this exercise helps our younger readers to develop readers' agency as they decide what is the right fit for them. Okay, we'll see if any of these, I think they're all going to play fabulous. These are, so we talked about the week before what a good waiter would look like, and we did a little bit of practice with this.
And this one, because where your hat is like the best series I know. And the Light in the Witch in the Wardrobe, because it's a really good classic that is really fun to read.
I love the smile right in the middle. All right, Revan.
You love cooking, but also you like magic. This one is for people who love old stories or original stories, but also like having them based off of real life characters.
I'm so proud of all this came out.
This is a good book for people who like adventure and just generally. And this does take place in the future where
We talked about book talks have no spoilers, though. Like, that was a big part. There's no spoilers in a book talk. All right. So also serving were our 6th grader members of our reader advisory committee. And these are kids that came in any recess or lunch they want to, and their teachers were kind enough to let me borrow them for a few minutes every Thursday during the month of March. And we studied and practiced the art of a book talk and then presented them to younger grades. And It was I shouldn't say I was surprised by how popular it was. We thought we would wrap up last week. We were scheduled to wrap up last week, but those book talks ran so much longer than we planned. There was so much conversation and discussion happening back and forth between the younger grades and our book presenters that not everybody got a chance who was scheduled, and the teachers and the students have let us know that they want to see the rest. So we will be scheduling and continuing this. So we just started by kind of studying the art of a book talk, observing and critiquing other kids' lit book talks available on YouTube, and then we practiced. And of course, our older students develop confidence by being able to share their expertise with younger grades, and it certainly creates demand. Any of these books that they talk about are books that I know I will need to get some extra copies of, because they'll be books that our kids are asking for as soon as they come in. So I have some members of our 6th grade Readers Advisory Club who were brave enough to come and give you an example of what one of those book talks would look like. So first we have Tessa. Thank you, Tessa. Oh, and one more thing. The books that you were served by Jacob and Xander are the books that we'll be featuring with our book talk presentation.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Tessa Martin, and I'm a part of the Image program, and I participate in softball, basketball, and cheerleading. Today, I'm here to talk about one of my favorite books that everyone should read, called Ali Cross by James Patterson. This book is in the mystery section, and it is about Ali's best friend Gabe going missing. The police cannot find out where he went or what happened to him, so it is up to Ali to find his best friend with many challenges in his way. This book shows me to never give up when people are doubting you or when things are hard, and just to keep trying. And right now, I'm going to read my favorite part of the book. Not until I got to the very back of the room, I had clicked about 100 different things by then, but when I touched this one crate that looked like all the others, it slid off to the side, and right there, in its place, was a trap door with a recessed handle in the floor. I knew it, and Gabe knew I'd find it too. He knew I wouldn't give up on this, just like I wasn't giving up on him. And that's my favorite part. I would recommend this book for grades 3 and up. Even if you don't normally read mystery, this is just an amazing book for anyone, because it always leaves you on a cliffhanger, so you never want to set it down. And this book is a part of a series including Ali Cross, Like Father, Like Son, and Ali Cross, The Secret Detective. And if you want to find out what happens to Ali and Gabe, you should read Ali Cross by James Patterson.
We had to pull these girls from cheer practice downstairs to be
My name's Adeline Seeger. I'm in 6th grade, and I go to South Elementary School. And I shared a book with the younger grades called From the Desk of Zoe Washington, because I think it teaches an amazing lesson about if someone tells you you cannot do something, you can still do it, and don't let anyone discourage you. So it is Zoe's birthday, and she gets a letter in the mail from her father, who has been in jail ever since she was born. And she later does find out, too, that her mother has been throwing away all the other letters he's been sending, so this is the first one she gets from him. And also, she gets to a point where she writes back to him asking why he's in jail anyways, and what he says will blow her mind. So I'm going to read a part from the book. All I could do was stand there staring at the paper in my hands. I was like the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz, when he needed to be oiled. My arms and legs felt stiff, like they weighed 1,000,000 pounds if I tried to move them. Why did Marcus sound so nice? Mom always made it seem like he was a bad person. He didn't seem like he was writing from prison. I wasn't sure how someone in prison could sound exactly, but I guess they wouldn't be so smart. I read the letter again. Why had he called me Little Tomato? It was kind of weird. I liked tomatoes, especially the little ones, but I didn't want to be called one. What did Marcus mean when he wrote these letters? This is the first one I've ever gotten from him. It didn't make any sense. None of it did. I stared at the striped rug as millions of thoughts swirled around my head like the cake batter in a mixer. Should I write him back? What will happen if I do? So if you want to find out how she has to help her father From the Desk of Zoe Washington, you should read this book next.
And Harper will be sharing a book that she shared with our youngest classes.
Hi, my name is Harper Terry, and I go to 6th grade, and I go to South Elementary. And I'm going to tell you about a fantastic book I read called The Case of the Stinky Stench by Josh Funk. You should read this book because it's a really funny book about Lady Pancake and Sir French Toast. And they go on this really fun adventure to find out what the stinky stench is in the refrigerator. Have any of you guys ever had something really gross in your refrigerator?
We get like locker and lunchbox stories.
Yeah. And if you want to find out what the gross smell is in the refrigerator, you should read this book. And you can find this book in South Elementary Library or just KDL or something. Yeah.
go back to cheer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Nice job, ladies.
Will she need the key to get back up? Okay. I'm going to be locked in the hallway. Okay. And then very quickly, our March reading incentive was Readopoly. The entrance to our library and trophy case were transformed to promote our Read to Win March Reading Challenge. Thank you, boys. They will provide each of you with a copy of our Readopoly board. Kinder for First had a simplified version, but what you're looking at is 2nd through 6th grade. Consists of 22 unique reading challenges to encourage reading, exploration, and book discussions. So some of it's very traditional. You can see our red properties where, read a book about a person, read a funny book. Some of it is silly. Read a book in a quiet voice, read a book in a funny voice, read a book in a robot voice, which a parent described to me as the longest 15 minutes of their life. Sorry. My favorite are the ones that they are fulfilling at library and at school or boardwalk or park place properties. Tell Miss Siegert about a book that you've read. I found when the first couple kids came to fulfill this credit, they were super nervous. They had their hands balled up, and they had amazing oral presentations about their books prepared. And I had to make it clear, that does not need to be all that. I'm just looking for casual conversation in the hallway when you're in the library. Hey, Miss Siegert, that book that I just got, it was way too silly for me. Do you think you could recommend something else? Or I kind of like that. I think I'm going to stick with it. Or there's too many characters. It's way too confusing. I mean, it's as simple as that. Also, come visit the library during flex time. So if you're not familiar with how our elementary libraries are structured, we have 30 minutes with each class once a week. They come in and we share a story, and then they check out books. But we also have flex time that's available throughout the week where they can come exchange books. Some of these kids use flex time religiously, and some kids I haven't seen much all year probably wouldn't even know how to find the flex time schedule in the classroom. So this has really encouraged kids to find out where that flex time schedule is, come on down at all different times to library, make that a part of their normal walk through the South Halls. We want to see kids in our library all throughout their day at all times. We love having them. Thank you, that is what I was looking for. We want to see them at recess and at lunch all throughout the day, not just that 30 minutes a week that they're scheduled to come with their class. So needless to say, it's been extremely successful. The excitement is slightly overwhelming. It is hard to leave the library to walk to the office without finding some kind of excitement. Somebody who's excited to share something about their Readopoly board. I have one square left, or let me tell you about a book. So obviously you've seen how fantastic a wax museum can be. I included our wax museum because we also celebrated it in March, and the kids worked so hard on it. But I think it was a really good example of how our school libraries can support our the magic that's happening in the classrooms, because this was just, you saw how amazing this is and how hard they work on it. So our teachers piloted this program. Our kids were 3rd graders last year, and they expressed that the research phase got kind of tricky as the kids were trying to decide which famous person to educate themselves about, because as they started that phase, not all sources on the internet are intended for 3rd graders. So this year they asked that we try to just, for this specific project, use only written resources. So they asked if we could put together some books that might inspire the students. And we were able to fill a whole library cart that they could keep for the whole month in their room with high interest, age appropriate, recently published, exciting books. And they were inspired and they did fantastic. I teared up when I walked into the gym in the morning. It was overwhelming how awesome it was. But ours had a button. I'll share a few. Making the apple time. He's right on.
Hi, my name is Constance, and I've been light bulb photograph and
Okay, what do we have here? Hillary, it's hopping. It's my favorite. Sir George Washington. All right. So along that same vein, we have a second grade teacher who has an affinity for pigs, and March 1st is International Pig Day, and every March she transforms her class as a surprise transformation for her kids, and it lasts the whole month. So she asked if she could hog all of the pig books from the library. So we got my hands on every pig book I could, but I just caught this moment just walking down the hall, and I thought it was a special moment to share for March's Reading Month. This is the first day our second graders are starting their Charlotte's Web book club, and just all have their own copies in their hand with their little paper pig ears bent over it. Too precious.
And talking about cross-content teaching, this teacher has over 650 pigs in her room.
Overwhelming.
And the kids have to count them all and figure out how many she has.
She does some really, really neat things. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and then the most long-standing way that we plan to celebrate March's Reading Month is inviting our community into our school. This past Friday, we celebrated our VIP Day. The attendance was fantastic. Thank you so much for those of you who showed up on Friday to read with our students. So each student invited a VIP. It could be any adult over the age of 18, somebody who was special to them. And they came in, and we sat down for the last 30 minutes of that half day Friday morning, and all our students sat with somebody they loved and practiced and shared the love of reading. It was probably the best day ever. It's just so great. And then again, it is just so important that our students see our adults practicing the love of reading. Mrs. Vanderlong, our third grade teacher, invited her parents to come be her VIPs. And they sat down in the gym and they read with her during those 30 minutes. And finally today, well, hopefully not finally, we'll continue to celebrate. But just today, Crash came to visit us and read to us. And that was a lot of fun. So thank you very much for the opportunity to share with you what we're doing. Have a great rest of your month and keep reading.
Very nice. Do our chefs need to come through and pick up our books? Our plates are done.
Clean up at table.
I did learn while I was sitting here that there were dragonflies during the mega predators era that were larger than humans. So that was terrifying to find out. Terrifying.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, parents and staff for being here from South Elementary. Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a great presentation. We appreciate you so much. And again, if you'd like to stay for the rest of the meeting, you're welcome to. If you'd like to exit, you're welcome to do that as well. I'll give them just a minute. Yeah, dragonflies that are like
Bigger than people?
Yes.
That and cockroaches,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, no, thank you. Did you say?
Yeah, that and cockroaches.
Oh, cockroaches.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you say cocktails? I'm like, are we back in Michigan and China? Okay. All right, we have no old business. So we'll move past that. On to the consent action agenda. Can I get a motion?
Support.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? All right, moving on to our regular action agenda. We have two items. We're starting with our first one, which is the middle school classroom audio. It is recommended the Board of Education approve the purchase of a new classroom audio system for installation at the new middle school building from Bloom for a total purchase price of $94,413.29. Can I get a motion?
So moved. Support.
And you may recall, we had an audio system for West Elementary recently and told you we'd be coming back to you for the new middle school. Here we are. So Walt, take it away.
So this is a little bit different than the system at West Elementary. The system that we were putting there had not only the classroom audio aspect of it, but also that safety aspect with the emergency button on the microphones. It did bell, it did the district-wide PA, it did all of those functions. This system is kind of the first step of that going into the new middle school building. So because the new middle school obviously started planning more than 2 years ago now, there is a traditional PA system and bell system that is going to be going into that middle school building. But we did need to have classroom audio as a feature in those classrooms. We want to have that as a feature. So kind of as a first step, this is a system that provides that classroom audio feature. Teachers will have the same kind of microphone. There'll be speakers mounted in the ceiling that will reinforce the audio in the classrooms, but those systems then can be expanded down the road to to provide the safety of the emergency alert button, the district-wide or the building-wide PA and bell system.
Great.
Well, we have 27 classrooms.
That we'll have 27 classrooms that have the classroom audio reinforcement. There's probably more classrooms, there are more classrooms than that in the new middle school.
So what classes are these going in?
So it would be all the traditional classrooms, science classrooms, classrooms that won't necessarily be getting this exact system are, for example, the music classrooms, band, orchestra, the theater, Blackhawks classroom won't have this specific system in it because there is already an audio system spec for those things.
Got it. Thank you.
What is the cost of the expansion if we expand for the emergency thing?
I'll have to get back to you with that number because that will entail things like additional network runs, some additional server components, that type of thing.
And if there is to be an expansion of the building, this is pretty easy just to expand out to the other areas.
Yeah, by expansion, I mean, expand the capabilities of the system down the road, so add that safety capability. But yes, because this system ties into the network directly, if there are expansions onto the new middle school building at some point, it's easy to expand those by just adding a module and plugging it into the network.
And it's nice to test that out at West and see if it'll be worth our expansion too, so that's really good. Any other?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so what's the exact reason why we don't want to do it all now? Is it just because we don't understand the system?
Well, so when the new middle school was spec'd, we spec'd a traditional PA system, a traditional bell system. That system is so far down the road as being installed at the new building. It's already in the process of being implemented. We didn't want to have to go back and rip all of that out, trying to put this system in. So this is kind of the first step, but we would like to get there at some point. But this gives us the classroom audio feature that we were looking for, with the possibility of adding safety.
I guess I just ask, right, because it's not going to get any cheaper to do it later on, and, I mean, I don't know, I mean, if the building is not completed yet, it's probably easier to pull it out now than it is to wait till the building's completed, and then pull it out at a later date.
How far?
Yeah, that's, I guess that becomes the question, right? I guess I'm just trying to understand, yeah.
You see Heather shaking nervously?
I did, she was behind Joe, I didn't see her, so.
I mean, ultimately, everything comes down to a money question.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Well, and the timing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This building is on schedule, and we need to keep it that way.
Okay.
And so it's really hard because, again, like to reiterate what Walter said, this building was in design over 2.5 years ago. So.
And the ability's still there.
Yes.
It's just we're going according to the specs we had, and that, that train's down the tracks. But we have the ability to, to expand it, to extend it. So that part makes us okay with it.
Yeah. So I mean, but how far down the road would we expand, or would we change it out? I mean, I don't know, I mean, we put a new system in now, or we put the system in now. I mean, are we looking at 15 years before we would change out the PA system again?
Probably.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm just trying to understand the big picture, right?
No, because when you look at something like this, it all depends on where we're at with sinking fund.
Yeah.
And the usage needs without the district. So I would think if there's a desire to do it, from just an integration perspective, it would have to be prioritized with all the other improvements that we do within the district.
Yeah.
And probably something like that would be obviously something we would discuss with the safety committee.
Right.
And there are other buildings in the district. I brought West to you for the system replacement there. The other buildings in the district have a similar HPA system to what is failing at West currently. So, as those systems need replacement, we'll probably look at those first before we necessarily look at the middle school that'll have a newer PA in it.
That makes sense.
And if we decide to expand, because that would be then a standalone like safety feature, that could potentially open us up to special grant funding for safety features? Yes, no, maybe? Possibly? Okay, possibly.
Do you know why there wasn't the safety in the first place, in the specs? It just wasn't something we were.
Wasn't on the radar.
New technology.
I'm thinking
Well,
2
technology
years ago.
changes so fast, right? That's,
Yeah.
Okay.
This is something new that's out there. And so, we want to, obviously, we're testing it at West to see how it functions and does.
So it wasn't even available for us to even
Yeah, it's
think about.
relatively new.
Thank you.
Who knows what we'll have 10 years from now?
Right. Exactly.
AI.
Yeah, exactly.
It's already here today. All right, any other questions from the board or comments?
Nope.
All right, we're going to do roll call vote.
Okay, Hybor,
Yes.
Steppas,
Yes.
Gardine,
Yes.
DeHaan,
Yes.
Palmer, yes, Lindergren,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you so much, Walt and Heather. Next item is the treehouse rate increase. It is recommended that the Board of Education establish the following daycare fee schedule as outlined in the attached presentation. Can I get a motion?
So moved. Support.
And so Julie Scott's with us. She is our treehouse director, and Heather, and they'll double team this one.
Yeah, so Julie and I will double team this one. Julie's done some great work over in Treehouse, and a lot of this presentation is to help streamline a couple of things, and you can just jump in whenever you want. But, so Julie put this presentation together for us. It shows her current reality, the current before and the current after. Right now, we offer 2 through 5 days a week for before and after school. And we're proposing eliminating the 2 days, and a lot of that has to do with consistency of enrollment as well as staffing to be able to handle that. So that bottom line right here is what we're proposing for the before and after. As you can see, it matches the current after-school pricing.
And to add to that, the proposal for the 3-day rate, not only for the families and the staff, but we have many facilities that we transport to. So we house, 6 elementary schools. We have 1 hub in inner city, Central Elementary houses for all of the, on this side of 44th. So consistency is really the key.
Similarly, looking at the, this is proposed before and after too. I don't know why I'm having a hard time seeing this right now, so I'm going to make it a little bigger. Yeah, so those will stay the same. Again, the only difference here is the consistency piece with going 3, 4, and 5 days a week. She also did a lot of background work on what other programs are offering and how we compare. So you can see that
For the
there.
Y, is that a member rate?
Yes.
Do you feel our programming is the same or above the competition?
I feel that we're either equal or above.
Good answer.
Can you, this is one thing I noticed, can you talk to me about this right here, the flat fee that Jennison does?
What research I've done, their rates have not changed since before COVID. They do the $9.25 flat fee for whether it's before school or after school, and they house, I believe, 5 different elementary schools.
Is that a daily rate?
Yes.
Okay.
And then lastly, looking to make a slight adjustment to our summer programming. Again, eliminating the 2 days, offering the 3, 4, and 5, and 3 days and 4 days remain the same as what they are currently, but just increasing the summer for 5 days by $10. So,
How many days does, will that, or how many people does that impact on eliminating the 2 days? Is there a lot of people that do that, or must not be very many?
Currently, we only have 3.
All right.
That's a great question.
What numbers for enrollment do you typically have in a week?
During the summer program, we can have
No.
up to 150 students.
Okay.
During the school year,
Summer and school year, please.
for combined,
Sure.
a lot of that is simultaneous, so families that are enrolled in before and after typically continue on into the summer.
They do,
We
okay.
do house a lot of students that are staff member students, so they withdraw for the summer, opening up availability for the rest of the community. So I'd say roughly 300 to 400.
It's a year round. For the most part.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get at.
Yes.
Thank you. Seems reasonable.
And what is your wait list?
Right now, I was just on the youngers, so we can easily fill additional 3 more classrooms for the summer. We just don't have, unfortunately, the staffing capacity right now. And same for the before and after school program. We've been trying to expand and open that up for the last several years, so our wait lists are quite consistent year after year.
It is such high quality care, and I think it's awesome what you're doing. I think this is absolutely appropriate as far as it's such a minimal increase. And you'll know soon enough when your grandson is going in through daycare. It is extremely hard to find quality daycare for families who are doing the before and after consistently year round.
It's
very
weightless.
hard.
It's weightless.
It is. Yes.
Wolverine in Rockford has a subsidized for employees. Apple Tree, we built it.
Yeah.
Employees, if they're in Hudsonville, they're driving to Wolverine, even if they're working from home, just because they can't get that enrollment, so. No,
It's
seems
an important
good.
job.
Any other questions or comments?
I would just like to say too, they do a great job. I work with Julie quite a bit, and she's always looking for additional funding sources and whatnot as well. So just really appreciate all they do.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for what you do. Appreciate it. We know that great education starts with our youngest level, so thank you so much.
That's right, we need a good farm.
That's right. All right, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you, Julie.
Our next item of business is discussion about a safety director.
Yes, so some time ago, we were having some discussion about safety and security in our district. We have a committee, and we have a committee that is chaired by a person who does a fabulous job with that committee, one of our principals. But through our conversations and as time has gone on, we see the value in having someone that is able on a day in and day out basis be able to champion safety within our district. And safety covers so many areas. But we would like to talk to you a little bit about what we envision as a safety director for Grandville Public Schools. And I'm going to turn it over to John now, and he's going to talk to you about the recent posting that we drafted and some of our conversation that has taken place.
Yeah, I think for me, in the role that the roles that I've played in the district as a secondary administrator, having been had experience with Ted Knievel as our security guard at the high school for a while, former police officer Dale Karpowitz, who's our current at the high school, Mucha, who's at the middle school. We've been fortunate that we've been able to bring in retired or former police officers to be our security guards. And the reason that that's was so valuable for me as an administrator is they see the world very differently than I do. And I needed that. I needed someone when we had an event to tell me, have you thought about this? Have you looked at this? Have you done this? We recently posted for our security guard position at the high school because Dale Karpowitz is going to have a second retirement, retired from police officer, and is going to retire from the school. For a while, we were struggling to get what we thought were going to be great candidates that had a police background. And so as a part of that, we started saying, gosh, maybe we need to start looking a little more globally at how we address that safety, not just from a secondary level and not just through the committee work that we have, but a person that can look at all of our buildings, that can partner with the mapping that we're going to do, that can be a liaison between the 3 police forces that we work with, primarily Grandville, obviously, but we have Wyoming at the south side, and we have Walker up north. And so it's really important for us not only to have a person that understands what we're looking at, but can speak the lingo and speak the language and be that connector for us between the safety and security needs that we think we may need and what our police forces can provide and can offer for us. We envision that this person would take over the oversight of our security guards with the expansion of our middle school, and we know the expansion of some of the events that we're going to have at our new middle school building, the importance of beginning to look at, do we need to have security guards in those places? Do we need to start addressing some things a little bit differently for some of those bigger events that we have? Our security guards work when our students are in the building, and that's awesome. But then we have events and students in the buildings the rest of the time, and we have some folks that are there that are designed to be a support to that, primarily our administrators and some other staff. But we want to be able to have somebody who looks at those things and says, this is something that I think you're really going to need to do and to have, and so that could mean then an expansion of probably our security guard staffing as well, but we want to have a person that can look at all of those things. They'll be responsible for our state reporting, for making sure that we align with all of the state guidelines and all of those pieces. So we want them to really be our champion for safety and security. So when you look at the posting, we tried to encapsulate a lot of that. Some of it, I'll be frank, was shared with me from other buildings and from other districts. So locally, Grand Haven just added one. Hudsonville has one, Rockford has one, Kentwood has one, and so we just, as we begin to start thinking about and growing into kind of where we are, we just feel like this is a great time for us to begin addressing this from an administrative level. So with that, I'll hit my own mute button until you have questions.
John?
Yeah?
So let's do a count, okay? Liaisons, we have 2, correct?
That's correct.
And where are they housed?
So Officer Musin is at the high school, and his work is almost primarily at the high school. He can certainly go to any of the other 4 elementaries that are in Grandview. And then Jake Carlson is housed at the middle school. And again, his work is primarily middle school based. He goes there every morning, but then he's more out and about in each one of our city schools. And then in addition to our partnership with Grandville PD, we have road officers that will at least once a week stop into the 4 elementary schools that are in the city and do a walkabout. Okay. And we get a report from Chief every month on the amount of time spent at each building and what our officers did in those spaces from a police standpoint and from a school standpoint.
So then for security staff, what do we have?
Again, we just have 2. We have one at the high school and one at the middle school currently.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And then we have a second. We added some second shift last year. They're called facilities associates, and from a security standpoint, they don't have the security training, but their job is to go throughout the district, make sure that our doors are locked, to make sure that if we have events that people can get in and get out of the buildings, but they don't have specific security training in that. They're really more looking at the facilities and make sure our facilities are secure at the end of the nights, because sometimes people prop doors open.
You mentioned Mr. Mucha, is he not considered part of that staffing?
He's part of the security staff, yeah, he's at the middle school. Yep, so Mooch is at the middle school, and then right now Carp's at the high school, and we're in the process of hiring his replacement with a person who has 25 years of law enforcement. We wanted to get that out and going early so that person could train with Dale during the course of this year, going into next year, feeling like they can hit the ground running. He won't work a lot, but he'll work a little as he goes forward, and it just recently retired from Kent County Sheriff's.
And is Mooch going to be on for a while longer? Because I know he's got to be close.
I haven't heard one way or the other. I think from an assumption standpoint, I can't imagine that it's going to be long-term for him. But he loves it. Loves being there with the kids, loves the work that he does. So it's 5 minutes, 5 years, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was admiring his work and our officer at the middle school's work. Just at the B11 event, and the kids were being great. I mean, they didn't need, but they were just present with the students and right next to them. And, proximity, we know in education is very impactful on student behavior, but it wasn't just about watching them and they were engaged with them and they were talking to them. And, the students would look up at them sometimes because they were standing over them in the crowds.
Are they paying attention?
Yeah, if they weren't, as soon as they looked up, they turned right around and I'm hearing and I'm engaged. But it was it was a real positive relationship too,
Yeah.
and I liked seeing that.
Cool. Barb?
Yeah, a couple questions.
Mhm.
Wondering, will this person be training staff on any kind of safety?
Yep.
And that kind of
Yep.
thing?
They would, in essence, Roger talked about how we have a principal now who kind of oversees our safety committee. This person would become the chair of our safety committee, would be the primary person that deals with training. We have to shift. We were trained all of our staff in Alert 3 years ago and have continued to do so, but Alert has been taken over by Alice, so we need to do a retrain of our entire staff. We anticipate doing that first part of the year next year, because the Alert and Alice are pretty well a mirror of one another, so, but we're gonna re-hit that next year, and this person would help to lead part of that too.
And my last question is around this person going to handle any bullying going on in our schools.
What, I mean,
I read about
potentially,
it, so
yeah.
maybe some way of.
Potentially, I think most of their job is going to be a little more on the balcony view kinds of things, but I think certainly if there are areas where our staff needs support, our principals need support, whatever, that they could provide some of that support. But I think that this person's view is more on the global sense of safety and security of all of our buildings, not as much related to kind of the everyday happenings of things that are going on in the buildings as it relates to student behavior.
Well, I was going to say, that was one of the things I would commend John, is I didn't see discipline as part of it. And that's, hopefully it was purposeful.
Yes.
Because, yeah,
Yep.
absolutely, so.
Yeah,
good.
we have our principals, our assistant principals do a great job with discipline. Do they make mistakes? Yep, everybody does. But they do a great job with the discipline side of it. I think this person's going to need to have a much more global view of the safety and security kinds of things.
Right.
Certainly could probably help with some of that, but Dale assisted me with several really difficult situations because he had a different view going into it and provide some of that. So I could see them being a resource, but not dealing with it directly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just want to make a statement. I just think this is a very important role and much needed in our district. I know some of the same people John does that play this role in other districts, and I see the benefit to what they've brought to their respective districts. So I think it'd be a good idea to definitely consider this.
Appreciate you guys thinking about
Yeah.
this, yeah.
Thanks for
forward.
going into detail about this, John.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
We'll be coming back on this, or?
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
come back to this another time. Just
Wrap it up.
discussion tonight.
Exactly.
Thank you.
All right, we are moving to our public comment section of the evening. Folks who are being called up for public comment, Mr. Highbauer will be keeping track of your time. You have 5 minutes to speak. At 4 minutes, you'll get a 1-minute warning from Mr. Highbauer just to help you wrap up your comments. All of our bylaws are on the back regarding public comment. Hopefully you reviewed them. During this time, you can share what you wish about board-related matters. And if you have anything to say that you're concerned about violating the rights of others due to the law of defamation or invasion of privacy, please seek legal counsel before stating those things. Also, if you have direct questions, please make sure that you have completed your form with your phone number, your email, so we can reach back out, because this is not a two-way forum, and we want to make sure to answer those questions for you. All that being said, our first person up tonight is Mr. Walter Skavnak. Did I say that right? And then followed by Karen DeWitt Midgley.
I would just like to say a few words about Mike Simonson, who was the former principal at South Grandville. Sometimes I might get mixed up between Grandville and Godwin, because when I came here 50 years ago, I met Mike at the middle school, and Mike was a special education teacher, and I had come from Catholic high schools in Minnesota and Wisconsin, and so it was my first really experience with middle school kids. And I met with Mike often because of special education requirements and the students in his class. And over the 50 years, I've seen Mike on and off. During the time that he was there, I became his boss for a while. And we were in the process of evaluating our traditional program and our individualized program. And there was a professor from Michigan State, his name was Fred Ignatovich, who was really doing the evaluating. And I asked Fred one day, I said, well, with your own children, I said, what would you expect, what would you want of a teacher in the classroom? And he said he would want the students to be challenged and engaged. And that was what I saw daily in Mike's classes. I mean, when I had bad days, and I had some of them, as an administrator, I could go down to Mike's room and visit. And his kids, they were challenged, they were engaged, and what you saw beyond that was the joy that you saw from some of the children who were here today and talking about their books. And that was so nice, all those times. And it was a week ago that I met with Mike. And I met with him with my spouse, who was his secretary for a number of years while he was at Grandville. And you know, I had to tell Mike how much I admired the job that he did at South Grandville. Because if you talk to the teachers, Mike had the talents and the personality and the interest where he was very encouraging and he was very supportive. You know, the teachers would probably talk that he backed you up on stuff. And
1 minute.
And my spouse was able to tell him about all the teachers at South who missed him. And I was able to talk to Mike a little bit about his work at Grand Valley, because both of us have seen the aspirants to being education are not what they were 25 years ago. And he was a star. I mean, he was a 5-star. The rest of us, we're somewhere there. But I just want to give our sympathy to his 2 daughters and their families. And it was a pleasure knowing Mike.
Thank you so much for that very moving. Thank you so much. Next up, Karen DeWitt Migley, followed by Cam Zukowski.
Hi, wanted to talk about pathways. Last time I was up here, I talked about some difficulties and how my 2 youngest kids were treated at Grandville. And Roger was nice enough to talk to me afterwards and asked someone to call me, and she did. And she listened, talked to her for about a half hour, and she said she'd look into everything, and I've never heard anything back. So very, very disappointed with that, because it was like, kind of like, oh, you got my hopes up. So it's just kind of like goes along the same thing of feeling like, wow, I just don't matter at all. Because it's like, why did you even take the time to call me up to say, we'll look into all these things, and then get nothing back? But anyway, as to pathways, my son that's over there wasn't challenged at all. And in 10th grade, they said, he really doesn't belong here. He's way too smart for this. And he was very bored, and his grades kind of reflected it. Met with them, and they all said, we really think he should go back to Grandville. And we were on board with it. He was excited about it. He wanted to. And every single block barricade was put up for him not to come back at all. You guys just did not want him back. You're like, let's put him over there. He can be over there. He can graduate, and we don't have to worry about him. And that's where he's been. He wanted to go to college. He was very excited about it. In 11th grade, they're like, well, let's do early graduation. You can graduate early. You can go over to college. And he said, but I'm just a kid. I want to enjoy being in high school. So they got him into KCTC. He was enjoying it. But they were still like, go to KCTC, go to CC. And he's like, I don't really want to do that yet. I'm still just a kid. So they just pushed him and pushed him and pushed him, and one person over there just really pushed him hard until he finally was like, I'm not ready for that yet. So senior year, he's like, I really want to do that. They had him enrolled. They had him all signed up for classes over there, dual enrollment. He was going to be there. He's going to be KCTC. And then this summer we get some email saying, sorry, he can't go. And call up, and why can't he go? Oh, his GPA isn't high enough. Why is someone over there not knowing this, getting him all excited? He's thinking, wow, I'm going to go over there, I'm going to take classes, and then it's like, I just pulled the rug out from under him. And he just kept saying, well, I don't care, but I knew he did. And now he's finished most of his classes at KCTC, decided not to do the last section. He had not a very good teacher, did get really good instruction for his year and a half there, but he's just like, I don't want to go to college at all now. So he went from saying, I want to be an engineer and I want to be in this field, electrical engineer or mechanical engineer, to I don't want to go to college at all. And seriously, it's like, how many disappointments does a kid need before you kind of see the light go out of their eyes and they just say, I don't care. And I can't convince him, He's working, 17, working in a full-time job. And I said, I want to talk about it. He said, don't blow it for me because I want to graduate. So he still thinks that there's some vendetta that if I talk about this and say he didn't belong there and he was over in all these easy classes, and honestly, he wasn't challenged. I think his education, I don't think he learned much. And it's sad for me as a mom to say, you didn't learn much. It's good for credit recovery, it's good for some kids, but it's just not. And to throw a kid over there and say, you're stuck there forever now, does a real disadvantage. And like as a mom, I saved up lots of money for him to go to college. And it's like, I can't convince him to go. So, very disappointed in that area. I think he was really cheated of an education. Oh.
Thank you for sharing with us, Karen. Next up, Cam Zipkowski, followed by Chris Migley.
Cameron Zivakowski, my address and information is on record. Members of the school board, on February 20th, 2023, you heard public comment from Brenda Bargencloss stating that Grandville Public Schools needs to do more to adjust to the changing demographic of the 21st century. And then, in the same breath, calling diversity, equity, and inclusion and social emotional learning, and please excuse my language as I quote her, Horseshit. I could not agree more with Brenda that Grandville has a long way to go when it comes to improving its DEI and SEL programming. With that said, I am just as equally saddened by Brenda's dangerously uneducated misunderstanding of what these programs actually mean for our district, its students, our families, and her sincere belief that improving mental health and diversity services to our students is horseshit. I stand before you today to speak about the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion in social-emotional learning programs for youth in our historically white district. As we continue to navigate a changing world, it is crucial that we address the needs of all of our students, regardless of their background or cultural identity. The events of the past several years have shown us that we must do more to create a welcoming, inclusive environment for all students. As our district becomes increasingly diverse, we must ensure that our schools are safe spaces where every student can feel heard, valued, and respected. The implementation of DEI and SEL programming is essential to achieving this goal. DEI programs help to raise awareness about diversity, cultural differences, and biases. They foster a sense of understanding and acceptance, and they equip students with the skills they need to engage in constructive conversation and build relationships across differences. SEL programs, on the other hand, promote emotional intelligence and teach students how to manage their emotions, develop empathy, and build positive relationships. They are critical in creating a healthy and positive school climate where students feel supported and motivated to learn. In a historically white district, it is even more important to implement DEI and SEL programs. Students need to learn about the experiences and perspectives of people from different backgrounds and how to navigate and challenge systemic inequalities. We must also equip them with the skills they need to build relationships and work collaboratively across differences. By investing in DEI and SEL programs, we are investing in the well-being and success of our students. Not only will they be better equipped to navigate a diverse world, but they will also be better prepared to be leaders and change makers in their communities. In fact, research has shown that schools that implement DEI and SEL programs experience a decrease in discipline problems, an increase in academic achievement, and an improvement in student mental health. In conclusion, I want the board to recognize the hypocrisy coming from the extreme vocal minority that elected both Bob Wonder Jim and Joe Steffes to the seats on this board. A group that tends to speak out of both sides of its own mouth. A group that asks the district for a focus on student mental health needs and creating learning environment for students from all walks of life, claiming that our district is not doing enough, and then in the same breath say they don't want the district to implement programs designed to address the very issues for which they're complaining about. At the end of the day, our job as a district, as parents, as educators, as community members, and as productive members of society is to ensure that all of our students feel welcomed, supported, and empowered to succeed. By doing so, we are not only creating a better learning environment for our students, but also contributing to a better future for our community as a whole. Any board member who would say otherwise doesn't dignify the seat that they were elected to. Thank you.
Next up, Mr. Migley, followed by Mary Polavin. Chris? Sorry. No problem. No apology needed.
I apologize. I'll kind of be overlapping some of the stuff that my wife said. I will try not to. I come at Isaiah's thing from a little different perspective. I tried to get him out of Pathways, and it was presented to us, okay, well, it's like just this first semester. And, that was fine. And, like he had done something kind of stupid in 8th grade, and then he a little bit doubled down on it. And I mean, there's consequences, so he's, got to learn that. And then it just kind of morphed out of that and into, okay, well, I guess it's just this whole year. And, I tried to fight that and didn't get anywhere with that. And then 10th grade, nothing, it's like they're complaining that he's sort of bored over there and he's not challenged, and, he's kind of almost troublesome for them because he's so not challenged. And he had some discipline problems in 11th grade over there too, actually, from not being challenged. And yet they kind of warehoused him over there. And there's such like a risk aversion to people not graduating that they kind of warehoused him over there to his detriment, and just kind of wrote it out. And then they're kind of dangling this carrot out there of dual enrollment. And we're kind of like, well, okay, I guess, but couldn't they see the trajectory of his grades, that he wasn't going to hit the GPA, and kind of say, listen, we want you to do this, but you've got to do your part too. We were completely blindsided by that. I mean, he was talking like it was all on track, and we're taking it at face value, and and then just out of the blue we get this email saying ain't happening, and so that just took that just took all the wind out of him. And I mean, now he's working full time. He's kind of making close enough to adult money, and he's sort of deflated. And he's just like, well, what's the sense of going to college? And I mean, this kid is a smart kid. I mean, he would have been a great engineer. I mean, everybody in the neighborhood loves this kid. Everybody in the neighborhood is like, hey, fix my kid's bike. Hey, fix my car. I'll pay you on the side to do this. And I mean, everybody loves this kid. And he's so, like, such a, like, statistic, like, that he was deprived because of that, wanting to defend your graduation rates. It really did him a huge disservice, and it's really kind of heartbreaking. I mean, honestly, as a parent. And I guess, ultimately he will graduate, and I mean, our hope is, gets school a couple years behind him, and he'll kind of be like, okay, well, I'm sick of this, and I want to do something a little more professional, and he will soften up and do it. But there's no guarantee of that. Criminals pay their thing and are back on track. He couldn't get back on track. There was just no escape from that whole track. And it was just heartbreaking, honestly.
Thank you for sharing more. Next up, Mary Polavin, followed by Michelle Thomas.
Hi, my name is Mary Polavin. My address is on file. Grandville voted, and it was definitely for conservative values. Bob and Joe, I think we found that out this fall. So on that note, I have a very intelligent daughter who's in 4th grade. She goes to West Elementary. She has Mr. Wondergem. He's awesome. She doesn't like to go to library because last year she got a book that at the end of it contradicted some of our values at home. So now when she goes to the library, she sits aside and doesn't check anything out, which is just too bad for her because she's an awesome reader. She does get different books and she continues her reading, but I just feel like with no guidelines with our books right now, a lot of books are coming in that are controversial. Not saying we need to ban books, but there are a few that definitely shouldn't be in elementary. I've asked for about a year now. I've been in touch with the principal. I've talked to Mr. Merkel. about getting some type of email kickback when my kids check out a book, just so I can see what they're getting, maybe look into it before they get home and want to read it. I know it won't solve the problem because they'll still maybe read it in school, but I feel like if I would have known about the book last year that she read, I could have maybe either stopped her from getting to the end of it, or I don't know, a different ending could have happened to that. But I feel like now she is just so self-conscious of it, and she actually talked to me tonight because I told her I was going to talk about this, and she said, I'd just like for those books to be put somewhere else so I can go back to the library and I can just look around and grab books and not worry about what's going to be in them. So I'd like to figure out a solution of how to get some sort of email kickback, parental type feature. So if you go onto Destiny, you can look at all the different books that are in the system. But there's books like Tango Makes Three that a kindergartner can check out, Rainbow Hands, I Am Jazz. These are some things that I'm not going to talk about with my child right now, down the road. If they need to talk about those things, we will, but not when they're 6 or 9. If we have to include things for every child, then where's the safety feature for mine? If we have to have these books, okay. But I want something that makes me feel okay with sending them to school and going off to library. And what's in the teachers' libraries? I don't know. I don't know if those are on Destiny. I trust my daughter's teachers right now, but I don't know how that's going to look moving forward. I always just advocate for them and let the teachers know where I stand. But, you know, there's this new club that started in the high school that's for sexuality and genders, and they want to create change and provide support and build community. Well, okay, if they can have that, then I want my safety feature for library in elementary school. So I don't know what it's going to take, but I'm going to keep pushing for it, and I hope that you guys can help me out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Next up, Michelle Thomas, followed by Alan Tratzler.
I guess I'll start by saying the beauty of elections is that the majority wins. You really can't be the winner if you're representing the minority. That's just not how the math of elections works. So the majority voted.
We need to not have disruptions from the audience when someone is speaking. They're speaking to us. Thank you.
The majority of our community voted, and we're thankful to have Bob and Joe back on the board with this new security position. I hope that we tap into the resource that we have here with Joe and his police background. I, as a parent, am very thankful to have that representation on the board. I hope we do move forward with that position. I think we could use additional security. Obviously, the square footage of the middle school is probably significantly larger than what we're currently looking at, and we continue to see the bathroom situation from the high school trickling down to the middle school. Now middle school bathrooms are starting to be restricted. We've got vaping, we've got marijuana use, we have kids that aren't comfortable using the bathroom, they're afraid. So while I know the security director isn't going to be handling the bullying and the everyday tasks, maybe there are some tasks that are as large as this that they could look into so we can get that situation resolved. It continues to be a problem. So I'm in support of that. And then I wanted to touch base on the DECA program. My son got to go to DECA for states, and it was a great experience. I'm happy that Joe plugged that program. I got to meet with the teachers out in the hallway and talk to them a little bit about it as well. And I compare it to sports. My kids are sports. We love sports. They gain so much from sports, but I can look at the basketball team, and for a handful of kids, there's 4 coaches. My daughter does cheer.
there's 3 coaches. The baseball team, there's 4 coaches. These 2 women are handling 114 students by the 2 of them, and we're in an academic business. I don't want to take away from the sports support, but you would think that academic clubs of that size and that scale and that success could maybe get a little more support from the school in general. I know there were some things that could have run a little bit more smoothly had they had a little bit more assistance, so I'm thankful for the volunteers that they did get. But that's a really, really great program, and I feel like we really could pour into that a little bit more than what we do. So, thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Alan Traxler, followed by Ruth Rondon.
Hello, my name is Alan Traxler. I live in Grandville and I have 2 children in the district attending school here. I really didn't have any plans to speak today until I saw a headline from the Texas Tribune. And I'll read it. I'll read the headline as soon as I pull it up. He has a battle rifle. Police feared Uvalde gunman's AR-15. Topic is a little nerve-wracking for me because it's something I worry about with my children. I was in middle school when Columbine occurred, and it was kind of a formative experience that violence could occur, and the entire country reacted after that. With this article today, I spent time reading it, and I'll have to forward it to your email addresses should you wish to read it. But the police at Uvalde determined upon entering the school that he had this weapon, this AR-15, and they were worried, they were concerned, and rightfully so. There are multiple quotes throughout this article about police mentioning this gun to each other and wanting further backup, which was a long ways away. The officers present wore bulletproof vests, but there are some that are better than others, some that are heavier than others, and they wanted to wait until they had higher rated bulletproof vests. And as you may know, this particular school shooting, police were there for 70 minutes. I feel like our schools are safe. I am pleased at the locking system that we have of doors. At the school my children go to, I am pleased that you enter into the office and the office itself is locked. There's no immediate access into the building. I feel like this is a good system. If I recall correctly, Joe, I think when you were campaigning, you may have mentioned you had some kind of plan, perhaps. I believe this was mentioned. I hope I'm speaking correctly. But if you do have some kind of plan, some kind of idea, I hope that you can share it to the public. I'd like to hear it. I'd like to see it. I'd like to review it. And my thoughts are on this situation with your relationship to the police. What do you do for police that wait? How is there any way to guarantee that they enter quickly? I feel like speed is of the essence. And I don't know. I don't have any answers. I don't have ways the situation can be improved, but I feel that prevention and planning is the most important thing you can do. And I'm just asking for the protocols to be reviewed. If you have ideas, I'd love to hear them. And right now I'm just coming to you as someone who is concerned. Everything might be fine. Everything might be safe, perfectly fine for my children as they go through school. But you just can't know. You just can't know. And it's something on my mind quite a lot. So I appreciate your coming comments and information you may provide. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. Next up, Ruth Rondon, followed by Carol Bronson. Okay, thank you for being here. Carol Bronson, our final speaker for the evening.
Hi, I'm Carol Bronson, and I live in Grandville. And I spoke with you at the last board meeting about how I was appalled by the hatred shown by some members of our community towards some of you on the board over the past year or so that I've been attending meetings. The community members claim that their anger is about parental rights. And my question is, which parents? You do not represent the majority of parents who attend here. Many of the loud voices at board meetings do not even have students in our schools. What is their motive for wanting to defund our schools? Which parents get to control all the other children, and why are outsiders so set on parents' rights when they don't even attend the school district? What about the parents whose children do attend and are happy with this school? I believe there's a concerted effort around the state to decimate public schools. There are groups of very loud individuals going to other school districts and spewing their hatred. I just found out that a woman who is involved in Forest Hills and Lowell schools board meetings is also involved in working with Milan, Michigan schools on the east side of the state, where my son lives, and doing the same things. Fortunately, it's not the district where my grandchildren attend. However, my granddaughter does attend a dance school in Milan, and it's probably affecting many of her dance friends. I truly believe this activity is in response to the majority of citizens in our state rejecting vouchers in a previous election. This is a reminder that we are the majority, but this very vocal minority is well-funded and will continue their vicious attacks. So we need to be vigilant and call them out. Now, I also mentioned to you last week that I started substitute teaching again, or substitute teaching after retiring from the teaching profession. Last week, and it was mostly because of the shortage of teachers and shortage of substitutes. And I taught in Grand Rapids, and there is a huge shortage in Grand Rapids. Last week, I subbed for a first grade classroom, delightful children, wonderful children. And many of these children they have English as a second language. And they're doing remarkably well for having English as their second language. Right next door to my classroom where I subbed, the principal, Mr. Frost, was subbing in a first grade classroom because they couldn't get a substitute teacher for that classroom. The assistant principal came into my room before the end of the day and asked me to sub for a third grade teacher the following day who came down with COVID. And I had already scheduled to sub at a different school that day, so I was unable to. So I'm asking for any of you who have extra time on your hands to please think about substitute teaching right now, because the need is very dire. And these children deserve as the quality of an education as we have in Grandville. They deserve it as well, and they are also our future leaders, and we need to help them as well. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our public comment section of the evening. The next regular board meeting of the Grandville Board of Education will be on Monday, April 17th. Note that's in 4 weeks at 7 p.m. at the Administration Building. This meeting is adjourned.